Journal. I'm Stephanie Rivers. Come on into the conversation. You are watching my journal, and I am multicasting on several platforms. So you could be watching on Facebook Live or Twitter or LinkedIn or Facebook Live. On whatever channel you're watching, be sure to let me know that you are here. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so that when I post new videos, you will be the first to know. So, what are we talking about today? We're talking about Tyler Perry's advice to Black women. People are getting into sidebar conversations about Tyler Perry's advice to Black women and what he said to them about dating. Now, even though I had intended to stay on the sidelines, I decided to, like double dutch, jump in because I had I was going to stay out of it because I don't have to tell you everything that I'm thinking about, believe it or not. One, and two, when it comes to relationships, that is not my forte. But here I am jumping in like double dutch to talk with you about it. And I'm coming to you on my tablet because my laptop stopped working on me, and I might as well be the Geek Squad because I told myself more about what was wrong than the Geek Squad people at Best Buy told me. So now I'm having to figure it out. So until I'm figuring it out, this is me and you on my tablet. So if I don't see you commenting, because I'm not sure how it's going to show me all that, then forgive me. I will email you back or hit you back later on. But yeah, we're talking about Tyler Perry and his advice to Black women. Now, in case you missed it, Tyler Perry said that Black women should be open to dating men who are financially don't make as much as they make financially. Even if all that man can do is pay the light bill, Tyler Perry says that if he is cooking and he can clean and he's emotionally supportive and all those things, that should be enough for Black women. So Tyler said that if the man is doing all the other things, he's loving, he's emotionally supportive. And if you are in this situation, I want to hear from you. If he can cook, he can clean, he can keep a good house, that the woman should overlook his monetary shortcomings because there's more to a relationship than what a person brings to it um, monetarily and financially and what they can provide. So while I agree that money isn't everything in a relationship, I stiff arm the notion that a Black woman should accept less than what she wants or what she needs in a relationship. Um, and so that's why I decided to talk about it, especially if this man is somebody that she really is, is serious about dating and is serious about intending to marry this person. She shouldn't have to lower her standards or change her desire for whatever it is she wants out of a relationship. So I realized Tyler used a light bill because he said if all the man can do is pay the light bill, but he's doing everything else, that she should consider still being in a relationship with him. And I realized that Tyler used the light bill as just an example. But the fact is that if a grown ass man cannot afford to pay a couple of $100 to a couple of $1,000, depending on how much a light bill is, if he can't afford to pay the utilities, regardless of how loving and supportive he might be, and even if the vitamin D is hitting on all cylinders, he shouldn't be looking to get in a relationship. He needs to be looking to get up his money, okay? Because if he's not with you, he's got to be somewhere paying some bills. So, yeah, you got to be prepared to pay some bills regardless to where you are. So, that's the first point. Now it's kind of like, what is that Kanye West? Wait till I get my money right. You gotta make sure your money is right, regardless to what you're going through. Because again, I remember a family member of mine wanted to live in my grandmother's house, and they're probably, well, she ain't here no longer, so she won't be upset. But and nobody knows about this but us. A family member of mine wanted to live in my grandmother's house after my grandmother had passed, and my mother and her siblings owned the house. So it was another family member who wanted to live in the house and not pay any rent to live in the house. So, my mother was like, we understand you as a family member might want to get a reduced amount of rent, but you can't live scot free up in here. And so that's just a sidebar, because it's not about, it's really about being prepared to live, and as a grown individual, you have to know that there's some responsibilities and accountability that comes with being a grown individual. And especially if you want to be in a relationship with somebody, there's some maintenance fee that comes along with that. And like I said, it depends on how much the maintenance fee is. Because for some people, the maintenance fee, the electric bill might be higher than other people's maintenance fee electric bill. But there is a fee. There is a standard of a fee. Okay. So a man who understands his role in a relationship, in a healthy relationship, will not want to be in a relationship with a woman where he's just paying the light bill and she's paying the rest. He won't want his woman out here busting her ass, trying to make all the ends meet, while he just paying the light bill. That's a healthy man. A relationship won't want to do that. And if you think differently, let me know. But as a healthy man, in a healthy relationship, most men want to do their part, or more than their part. They want to take care of the household. And so I know what you want and what you are able to do are two different things, but most men are not just going to be like, oh, babe, all I can do is pay the light bill. You got that, right? They're not going to do that. If you got a type of person, because we know there are men out here who they're looking for women to tote the note while they just don't do anything but bring the vitamin D. That's not a healthy relationship. So we're not talking about those people. We're talking about the healthy men looking for a healthy relationship with a healthy woman. Okay. Now, of course, I said healthy because there are people out here who just, want to put their feet up on the couch while you go to work. We ain't talking about that. We ain't talking about no motel hotels up in here. Okay. So if you haven't already, be sure to like, share, and subscribe so that when I post new videos, you'll be the first to know. Now, I'm talking about this one because I dated a man who claimed that most of his money was going to pay for his child support to his 3 kids. Okay. And I support a parent paying child support for their children. I totally support that. But to people who are in that situation, I say, go where your money is or get your money up. Okay. Don't make the next woman have to suffer for your previous relationship situations. And so, yeah, if all your money is going over there to pay for the kids, then you might as well be over there with the kids. If you going if you poor mouth all the time, oh, I ain't got no money because my money going to buy, you know what I'm saying? So I see that somebody has commented, Leon Martin is saying, hello, hey, if you are a single dad or a single mom and you got to pay child support, and that is your issue for not doing anything but pay the light bill, let me know. But here's the thing, you need to come up with another way to get your money up. Okay, because it's not my fault or the woman's fault you're in a relationship with that you got child support issues. That's between you and them over there. Okay, so that's what I say to that. Now, I have learned from firsthand experience that you can't allow a person to do the minimum, because if you allow a person to do the minimum, then guess what they're gonna do? The minimum. Okay. And so that's why you have to make your expectations known. And if that person doesn't meet your expectations, then you need to vote with your feet and keep it moving. And so in the chat, Leon Martin is talking about something. I can't help you with that, bruh. I cannot help you with that. And this is not the conversation for that. We ain't talking about people who have small member issues. Okay. So keep that moving. But you got to require more in your life. And because when you require more, or when you have standards and you require more of people, or you at least let them know what you will and won't accept, then they are going to they're going to raise their level to what you want. They're going to do it, or they're going to not do it. And you have to make the decision to not waste time trying to figure it out, wasting time and money over somebody who clearly is not willing to meet your standards. And so if you require more than a light bill, don't keep crying over, oh, you need to pay more than the light bill. Oh, if he already told you that's all he can pay, then and he's not for you, and you want more than that. So you just need to cut that clean and keep it moving. Okay. Because trust, wherever he goes next, he gonna have to do more than pay the light bill, or he might get with somebody who only requires him to pay the light bill, but that's where he needs to be. He don't need to be with you if you want more than that. So again, I am on this chat and I don't really know how to turn it off, and I need to turn off the chat because this person, okay, I'll do that. So there are two things that I wish I could do. I could change because I just had a birthday. Let me say that. Just had a birthday, and happy birthday to me. And so I'm going to put up here my Cash App. If you want to Cash App me, that's my Cash App, ABC Steph. Always be closing, Steph. Send me a birthday Cash App. But if there are two things that I could change in my life, it would be the amount of time that I've wasted and the amount of money that I've wasted dealing with the wrong man who knew that his intentions for the relationship with me were not genuine. And you live and you learn. And once I lived and I learned, and you move on. But a lot of us, we spend a lot of time trying to figure out things when it's plain as the nose on my face that it wasn't going to work, or you need to go on and move on. And we didn't. So there's that. Don't waste a lot of time and money on people who, like it's been said many times, when people show you who they are, believe them and keep it moving if it's not for you. So the man who wants to spend your money but he never has money to spend, that will be somebody you need to move on from. The man who always wants to borrow money but he never got none to lend, that's somebody you should move on from. Okay. The man who has been separated from his wife for 10 years but can't claim they're not together and wants you to be all into him, but he's not available to be into you because he's separated. You need to move on from that person, because they're not, it's not to say that everybody wants to be married, but you want to be equally yoked in the fact that if we want to move on to marriage, or we want to do certain things together, we want to acquire things together and have a partnership, he is otherwise involved. He's not available. So quit spending time with people who are not available, and especially if they can only pay the light bill and they unavailable. Come on now. It makes no sense. So those are the type of people that you should separate yourself from, unless you're into that, unless you want them to be unavailable. But I'm talking to the ladies who really are looking for a genuine relationship, and it's hard to be genuine these days. So if you haven't already, be sure to like, share, and subscribe so that when I post new videos, you'll be the first to know. And so, with paying your own bills, with maintaining your own lifestyle, sometimes women, we have to be okay with being alone. And that is the question. Are you comfortable with being alone? Some of us are not comfortable with being alone. I'm trying to put up my my CG. So a lot of us are not comfortable with being alone, and so we end up being in relationships with people just because we don't want to be alone, and that therein lies the problem. You have to be comfortable with paying your own bills. You have to be comfortable with paying for your own lifestyle. You have to be comfortable with traveling by yourself. And this part is what made me jump into this conversation, because I just got back from the Dominican Republic celebrating my birthday. And I went alone, okay? And it's not the first time that I've traveled alone. I do it quite frequently, and we'll get into why. But I've traveled to Bali, Indonesia alone. I've traveled to Egypt alone. I've traveled to Morocco alone. And I've traveled to the Dominican Republic a couple of times alone, simply because um, I one, I love myself and I'm okay with being alone. And two, everybody is not always available. Like girlfriends, friend girls, they're not always available to go when I want to go. And I don't like waiting for people. So I just go when it's more convenient for me. And a lot of times I end up going alone. In fact, I went scuba diving in Susoa Bay, that's outside of Puerto Plata. And I always have a great time because I might be alone, but I'm never lonely. There is a difference. And while I was there on vacation, I just got back yesterday. I was there for 5 days. I even created like practice on TikTok, creating TikTok commercials and videos because I have a drone company. And while I was on vacation, that's what I learned to do. You want to see it? Here's my first TikTok commercial that I created using CapCut, I think. Hold on.
How to capture awesome drone video. Step 1. Always follow local drone laws. Step 2. Pick a great location. Step 3. Always be prepared. See my drone next to me? Sometimes you do not get another chance. Make it count.
So that was my first TikTok commercial, and I went scuba diving and I featured my drone, and it was awesome. We had somebody to comment that says, "This is what feminists caught for. You need to understand that even when women make all this money, they still don't want to take care of others financially, especially a man. It's a simple problem." So I would agree with that. Taking care, right? If women make a whole bunch of money or make a certain amount of money, they don't want to take care of a man. And so, and I would say on the flip side, Dan, and a lot of people say, well, what if, but women want to be taken care of. What's if is it okay that women want to be taken care of by a man? And I would say, I personally don't want to be taken care of. Now, however that comes out or however that sounds, I'm I I definitely don't want to take care of a man, but I don't think a man should have to take care of everything for me personally. So, again, relationships are iffy because you got to find that person who is for you, who y'all can, like Tony Gaskins. I look at Tony Gaskins' video. He says the piece of the puzzle has to fit. Y'all gotta fit together. We're so busy looking for the best dress or the most beautiful or the most money and all of this. And at the end of the day, y'all have to mesh in different ways. And so that's important, to be able to mesh in different ways. Most women, I would say, overestimate the value of vitamin D. Okay, and most men overestimate the value of vitamin P. So, and I'm not saying that there's no value in the D or the P. Okay. I'm not saying there's no value. I'm saying it's overestimated. It's kind of like, don't be like Donald Trump and overvalue your stuff 100 times, because in the end you're gonna lose, because in the end you're gonna end up making decisions off of false estimations. Okay, and that's what I'm talking about. So don't overestimate the value of certain things in a relationship, and you end up, because you end up being with people or spending time with individuals that really don't mean you any good. And that's what's up, because when it comes to the vitamin D and the vitamin P, ultimately you have to deal with the person that the D and the P is attached to. Okay, you have to deal with that person, and if that person irks your last nerve for 23 hours of the day, whatever you get out of the few minutes in that 24th hour is not going to be worth it. At least in my estimation, it's not going to be worth the pleasure that comes out of that 1 hour, because they ruined your life for the last 23 hours over and over again. And you got to deal with it every single day. It's like, what's this all for? It ain't even that, it's not even all about that. So that's what I'm talking about. Don't overestimate anything. So most women who are alone don't have to be alone. And we know that because you can look around and realize that a lot of men, they'll poke whatever will bend over. A lot of them will. Okay. Not all of them, but a lot of them will. And so, especially if that person doesn't require anything of them, and especially if that person is okay with being in the dark. If you can if they can show up and poke in the dark and leave, and nothing is said and nothing is expected, then that's what they'll do. So having someone who's willing to do certain things to you at the midnight hour and all of that, it's not an accomplishment. Okay. So just understand that. So you might look at me and say, well, she ain't got nobody because she ugly, or she's fat, or she's bald headed, or she might have a bad attitude. You could say all of that, which all of that would be untrue, first of all. Okay, because I'm not ugly, and we know beauty's in the eye of the beholder, but I love myself enough, and I know I'm beautiful. And men have told me that I'm actually wife material, but the issue is, are they husband material? Because just because you tell me I'm wife material, don't think I'm going to accept whatever you want to give me as being a husband, because that's not the case. And again, you got to have standards, and if that means being alone, then that means you have to be okay with being alone. So I'm trying to go back to, so this is what we're talking about. Tyler Perry's advice to Black women. So I've had men, again, to tell me that I am wife material. And so I want someone who doesn't need, here's what I want. I want someone who doesn't need me for my vehicles or for a place to lay their head. I want somebody who doesn't want to be with me just for the flight benefits. I want someone who, when it's time to go on vacation, that they can pay for nice hotels and nice excursions, and let's go to nice restaurants, the same as that I take myself to or better when I'm with myself, because I'm going to treat myself to a certain level of service and quality. And if you can't do that, then that's eventually going to be a problem. If you are always talking about, oh, I ain't got no money to go on vacation, or I can't do that because it costs too much money, but you want me to pay for everything for us to go on vacation, and you sitting up there, like you're my son instead of my man, waiting for me to pay for everything, that's going to be a problem for me, because I am not looking for somebody to pay to, even if you said let's go half, or you get the flights and I get the hotel, or you get this and I get that. I can see that. I can see that. But not I'm doing everything and you just, you choosing where we go. We're not doing that. So that's what I'm talking about when I looked at what Tyler Perry said in his advice to Black women, and how we should be willing to accept somebody who could just pay the light bill. Because if it was just about paying a few $100s to a few $1,000s a month to pay for utilities, and that was it, and you were doing everything else, I could see how that might work. But there's more that theoretically that could work. But realistically, when people want to go and do, and I want to live a certain lifestyle that I've created for myself, and if you want to go with me, you got to step up and be able to do that. You got to have a passport. We going places. You see what I'm saying? When the car breaks down, do you know how to change a tire? Do you, with the, if we need, if something happens with an electronic in the house, do you know how to fix it? Or we got to spend money now on top of me paying for everything. Now I got to spend money to get it fixed because you don't know how to fix nothing either. Come on now. You don't know how to cut the grass. You don't know how to do. So there are a lot of other things realistically that Tyler Perry's advice didn't speak to. So if all he can pay is the light bill, and his conversation is always talking about how much money he doesn't have, and all his money is over there at his ex's house paying child support, then that's going to be a problem. So I choose to travel alone when I go to places, and most of the time when I see people who are there with other people, like their wife or their husband or their partner, they looking sour in the face at each other. They're not talking. You can tell there's an issue. They feeling some kind of way. And I'm like, I get along with me, myself, and I don't have to worry about it. So and some of those people are looking at me like, wow, she's so brave. She's traveling by herself. Or maybe they're looking at me like, oh, we feel so sorry for her because she's traveling by herself. And here's the thing, I don't really spend a lot of time thinking on what people think about me being by myself, because I'm so busy living my life and loving my life and having the time of my life, that I really don't know if I would even want that to change. I know I wouldn't want that to change, but I mean, adding someone to the equation means a lot of different things that I'm willing to do. I mean, I've been in relationships before, I've been married before, so it's not like it would be foreign to me. But at this point in my life, as you get older, you start to realize, is it worth the changes that you have to go through? And it might not be. So yeah, here we are. So I suggest that when you think about it, that when people don't live up to your expectations, don't waste a lot of time thinking about whether you should change your expectations, because in the end, as most of us have done, we've settled, or we've changed our expectations. That's a better way of saying it. We've changed our expectations to meet that person, and then you end up finding out it wasn't even worth it to begin with. So you should have just kept on up there, and you would have saved much more time and much more money instead of trying to work with certain folks who ain't worth working with. Okay. So That's that. Face the fact that if that person is not willing to meet your expectations, then they are not your person and you are not their person. You have to be willing to be comfortable being alone. To find out more about the things that I care about, you can go to the written version of my journal. It's at eurweb.com. Thanks and have a super day.